Hello everyone, it's DuckFaden07. Today we are playing NAYA Energy Combo. Okay, so last time I played MARDU Energy Bombardment build with Apprentice and it was really good. So I wanted to explore Bombardment a bit better. Then I got this idea to go NAYA. For this card, Birthing Ritual. I feel like lately I played a lot of this card and I feel that it's really powerful card for a aggro style deck like this with 26 creatures. And there's a really nice way to exploit Goblin Bombardment in NAYA colors, and that is Saffi Renegade Rallier combo. Okay, so if you have both Rallier and Saffi on the field with Bombardment, it actually goes infinite. So you sack Saffi, target Renegade Rallier, then you just sacrifice Renegade Rallier, and Rallier brings back Saffi. Then you just repeat this: sack Saffi, get back Rallier. Saffi says when you target creature dies this turn, you return it to the battlefield, and Rallier returns Saffi. So it's infinite loop with any sack effect, and Bombardment is a really good sack effect in this build. Works great with Ajani, goes infinite with Rallier plus Saffi. But the sweet thing is that Rallier is just very strong piece in this build even without a combo. It even brings back the Birthing Ritual itself and the Goblin Bombardment and all creatures in deck and enchantments except for Flage, and it's not necessary to bring back Flage since Flage can just escape himself and bring it back from the yard. Okay, so I also was able to fit in 2 Rumbles. I felt like Rumbles were crazy good in this build, and if I would add any card to the deck, first thing I would add would be like a 3rd Rumble. This card is really strong, but now we have 2 Rumble and 4 Birthing Rituals to find the combo piece. So I had to trim on something. First, when I played, I excluded Ajani from the build to include like 4 Rumble, 4 Saffi, to have more numbers on the just going for the combo. But Ajani is just really sweet with Bombardment, and I decided to leave it in. Also, it's pretty sweet with Rallier and the Birthing Ritual, enabling you to sack the cats. So it's a very synergistic deck, works very well. Also, it's just a very good, it plays very good mid-range game as Energy usually does, but also now has this infinite combo finish, which is really powerful. And the sweet thing is you can start with Saffi in the yard. You can also just put Saffi in the yard with a Rumble. So sometimes it feels like a Rumble feels like getting 2 cards. If you're putting Saffi in the yard and like Rallier in hand, you're basically very close to combo, just need Bombardment to finish it. And Birthing Rituals also just look at 7 cards every end step and help you just get it. And so I decided that I want to prioritize the mid-range plan and just have this accidental infinite combo, which is not that hard to find with the rituals and the rumbles, and having 4 Ralliers in a deck that can always start doing the combo even with Saffi in the yard, and that's it. Also, Saffi on its own in this deck, it's pretty good. It makes things difficult for opponent if you play Saffi first and then like play Ajani. It's very hard for opponent to not to like play around not flipping Ajani, because if they try to kill it, you just sack Saffi and get Ajani back, and then try to kill the token with Bombardment again to flip it. A lot of tricks you can do with it. Also, if you have Saffi on the field, you can sack it when you play the Flage from the hand, so you get 2 abilities, which is like 6 damage. It can be really relevant sometimes. Go with face, and with Bombardment in deck, it's really not that hard to go face with a lot of damage, because a Flage goes phase, you can sack Flage each time you play it for additional damage. And we have Nekattles, we got Amtraptors, Ocelot Pride tokens, Birthing Ritual, finding a lot of creature each turn. So that's it. Renegade Rallier also makes your Sun Cleanser a lot better when you're bringing that from the sideboard. Also stuff like Havar Might really works super sweet with Ralliers, and the Rallier has been like an MVP on this deck together with Birthing Ritual. These two cards have done some crazy things, and Amtraptor turn 2 cascade into Birthing Ritual often felt as unbeatable, and then end of turn you immediately sack Raptor, usually find like Flage or Renegade Rallier. Both of these hits are amazing. Sometimes you hit Rallier and bring back whatever, like a Raptor or a Ajani or just your 1-drop, and it feels amazing. Or just find Flage, put it in the yard immediately for no mana investment, and then you have Flage in the yard, and it's just you can play it next turn from the graveyard, escape it, and it's really powerful. So I decided to cut one land in this build. Energy usually plays 22, but I have Malevolent Rumble in this build, 2 of them, which can definitely be helpful with finding lands. Also, Rallier can bring back a land from the yard to help you find that 4th, 5th land you need. So do have green colors, so I have 2 survey lands. I decided to go with 21 and I was happy with that. Okay, so obviously we need some slots for the combo and for the birthing rituals, so only 4 removals in the main. I have 2 static prisons on the side, also 2 celestial purges, which are often very useful. And I also decided after this league, I didn't have it when I played, but I decided to include 2 Flare of Fortitude in this build as a tech to fight Jeskai Energy, which is probably one of the deck's worst matchups. Not just this version, but like entire energy archetype. People play Jeskai control because it's good against Boros and Mardu and also Naya. That Wrath of the Sky is just a very good card against deck. But Birthing Ritual also can kill cards like Bombardment and Birthing Ritual, but Renegade Rallier plays really well in that matchup, makes it a bit better, and especially if you have both Saffi and Rallier on the field, it can be hard for them to get rid of them, because Wrath of the Skies doesn't work. You can just Saffi your Rallier, and then if they Wrath of the Skies, you just get both creatures back, so it doesn't work well. They have to kill Saffi first, and then with next removal or next turn kill the Rallier. So yeah, that works in this version of the deck. It works a lot better against Jeskai Energy, but still often it didn't feel like enough, and felt like I need more hate, so I decided to put 2 Flare of Fortitudes on the side, in addition to stuff like a Sun Cleanser, which is good against them, Static Prison, taking their rings, Havar Might too, so Soul Guide Lantern also can remove Flage from the yard. So there is a bunch of cards on the sideboard good against them, but since I consider that the hardest matchup, that makes sense. Okay, so Flare of Fortitude untested actually so far, but we got so many white creatures in this build. We got Ocelots, we got Guides, Ajanis, Saffis, Ralliers, and Flages, and I think this card can often could be very important for both board in that matchup. Like, it's okay to sacrifice Ajani, Guide, or Ocelot if you're saving your board and hitting opponent for 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever damage next turn. So I think it could be impactful, but still untested. So let's go check out the gameplay. Okay, before we actually go there, let me remind you, for my dictionary profile, all my sideboard guides and articles I made occasionally are there, most of them in medium tier. Okay, so from new guides, I got Mardu Energy sideboard guide and another guide coming next Friday, I think. So there will be 2 new guides soon and more coming. So Let's go now check the gameplay. Okay, so match 1, I started first. Okay, so a pretty decent hand. I started with Ocelot Pride. I have 2 Birthing Rituals, and often that was amazing. Okay, so actually in this build, as I think I mentioned it before, I didn't have Ajanis, but instead I had 4 Malevolent Rumble, 4 Saffi. I think this is also decent way to go, maybe like more budget way to go. Is if you don't already have Ajanis, I think Rumble is a great card for the deck playing, and since the deck is all the Boros pieces like Fleege and Ocelot and Ajani are all pretty expensive. Yeah, you could probably just play Rumble instead of Ajani, and but unfortunately Ocelots and the Fleeges are pretty important for the build, especially with Goblin Bombardment and Birthing Ritual helping and find it. Okay, so as you can see here, for a deck that only plays removal, it's kind of hard to kill the Rallier Saffi combo. And yeah, here I decide to bring back this with Guide. Start gaining some life using Guide abilities, and I used my second Rallier. Also, the token from the Rumble is sweet because it triggers the Rallier, so it can often be just pretty nice. And here you can see how good is to find a Fleege with Birthing Ritual. It always feels broken, and I was able to find Fleege here, put it in the yard, kill their creature. Next turn I have 13 cards in the yard, and the Fleege is just super. In this version, the Fleege was like super strong because we had 4 Rumble and 4 Ritual. This guarantees you finding a Fleege every time, and not just finding it, but also finding it very quickly. So you often have a Fleege by turn 4 in like almost every single game you play, and that has often felt amazing, and that is maybe another reason to just go for a full 4 Rumble. But it felt hard here to not include the Ajani, because Ajani is so good with Bombardment. It's great with Ocelot, of course. It's also sweet with Rallier. Just bring opponent needs to use 2 cards to get rid of Ajani, and then you just play Rallier, bring it back. It seems like it could be very annoying. Okay, so here, but the advantage when you play 4 Saffi in the deck, then you just make your chances of finding the combo much better. Okay, so opponent is very aggressive in this one, and they go like turn 2, attack me down to 8. That is a lot of damage. Here I go for the Raptor just to find another one so I can jump for a turn. Opponent, yeah, they basically had a kill but didn't use it, so yeah, I didn't have a way to survive this anyway, so that was the game. Okay, so let's check out game 3. Okay, so in the game 3, playing first, obviously this very aggressive deck, and they can have like a brutal starts like that last one. So playing first means a lot, especially when you have a Guide of Souls. They kind of have to kill it. It gains a lot of life if they don't. But yeah, since I'm playing first, it is just a big advantage. Unfortunately, I find a Fleege here. I'm not able to cast it, but it's fine. Just gaining energy in this matchup, I feel, can be pretty relevant. So I was okay with that. I was really expecting them to play that slick shot next turn, so I really wanted to use, say, my removal here to go for the slick shot so they don't surprise me with some crazy turns. So I go for the discharge immediately in response to the first Morphose, and yeah, before they find a pump spell or whatever, but that extra energy came in handy, so in case if they even had something, I would still be able to kill it even if they have the pump spell like mutagenic growth, something like that. Okay, so I find Flage with Birthing Ritual. This always feels like super strong, and opponent has Surgical to remove all my Flages, but that's okay. My hand is good. I have a Rallier here. I draw a card with Soul Guide Lantern, and then Soul Guide Lantern also pretty sweet with Rallier. You can just abuse it so many times, and what is the sweet thing about a Soul Guide Lantern is it does a lot when it enters the battlefield, especially against Flage decks. So you ATB, remove the Flage, then crack it, draw a card, trigger the Revolt, and then play Rallier, get it back. It often feels very, very strong. I've really liked it. So here I go for the Rallier, and it's also the Saffi thing works very well with Ritual because you can just sack the Saffi on Rallier, then sack the Rallier, get the card from the Ritual, and kind of have a free way of just replaying that Ritual ability without actually sacrificing any creatures, because the Rallier and the Saffi duo are unkillable with normal removal. Okay, so I go for the guide here, pump it to 3-4, attack them down to 4 life, crack the Soul Guide Lantern, and go for Rallier again. And yeah, again I have this target the Soul Guide. I think it's like the only thing that can make their turn crazy, some like Underworld Breach hand, so I target Soul Guide again, and my opponent concedes. That is the match. Okay, so let's go check out match 2. Okay, so match 2, pretty good hand, I would say. A lot of options. But I would say that people are prepared for turn 1 Guide of Souls. Okay, people are prepared to kill turn 1 Guide of Souls, but that's why I think we have stuff like M-Traptor here, finding more pressure, very strong turn 2 play. And the Renegade Rallier also works sweet because it's a Guide of Souls is very important card for a build like this, and Rallier just being able to bring Guide back, and not just Guide but actually all these cards. And you can see here I have so many strong creatures on the field. Guide of Souls and Rallier very important for this build, but my opponent has to kill Saffi. They have to kill Saffi, and that's why I like Saffi. It's just they have to kill it, and there are so many other creatures they also have to kill, and they have to kill this guy. And it's okay to play 4 of them actually, because you will often just sack this very quickly to save other creatures, so you'll be able to play the second copy from your hand. Usually it won't be problem drawing multiples. Okay, so of course you don't want to draw 3 most often, but 2 is mostly fine. So maybe like playing 3 of them is right number. I had 3 of them for some time. Tested 3. I liked having 3, but yeah. Definitely there are few slots still left for testing. I would like to be able to play both 4 Ajani, 4 Rumble, 4 Saffis. All these cards I was really happy with, so I would not mind playing 4 of or all these, but unfortunately there is not enough room for all that. Okay, so in game 2, let's check my sideboarding plan. So I decided to bring in, I thought like this is the Jeskai control. It's actually like a 4-color control, but I think splash is only for a leyline binding. And yeah, here unfortunately I think I tapped mana wrong, and then played Saffi. It automatically took mana from my pool, so I was not able to play Gyro Souls. But it was okay if I played it, so they would probably kill it, so maybe it turned out better. I decided this turn just to go for the Ocelot Pride and start doing the Ocelot Pride abilities. Opponent has the Wrath of the Skies, which is very strong. And okay, here I decide to go for Flage and the Ocelot. Flage triggers Ocelot, so I make another token here. Opponent have Flage in the yard, but they're missing another land to be able to play it. So here I find a Soul Guide Lantern. And I really didn't want them to cast their Flage, so I decided to just crack the Soul Guide Lantern, go for the Rallier, bring back Saffi now at this point. At this point, if I draw Goblin Bombardment, I have the combo kill, but I have to do the Saffi ability before the Wrath of the Skies resolves, so my opponent was able to decide not to use the ability and just not to use, they paid 0 energy, so they had energy in pool, but I have a Reign of Glory, Flage in the yard, and attack with Flage with haste. My opponent can't prevent this, so that is game over. And match 2, let's check out match 3. Okay, so in that matchup, my opponent really don't play much creatures, so I just had I just removed all the discharges from the main. Okay, so here my opponent played a deck that I'm really interested in trying for some time, but didn't try it yet, and that is Birthing Ritual Goblins. I really like the look of that. Yeah, but still didn't have time to do it, but it's definitely a thing I'm interested in. Okay, so I go for a rumble here. I find a third land, and with Eldrazi Spawn token, I can double spell next turn, play 2 of my 2 mana spells, which is pretty cool. Okay, so my opponent actually finds Mog Fanatic with Ritual, is able to kill my Eldrazi, so I decide to go for another rumble again, and then a rumble makes a spawn token so I can play another spell. I think it was best possible option. Then I go for the Reptile, Fire, Guide of Souls, but my opponent doing some powerful stuff here with Birthing Ritual. They have Snoop and find the Expert. Fortunately, I was able to get rid of Snoop. That was really important. Okay, so opponent goes for the Horde Master. And yeah, they find a Lieutenant here. Lieutenant pretty strong. Fortunately, I have a discharge to kill a Horde Master, and then I also have a bombardment to kill most of their stuff. But I decide to go for the Flage first, kill that Lieutenant, and then go play bombardment next turn. But that was wrong decision, as my opponent was able to find another Snoop and Bogart Harbinger with the Birthing Ritual, so they were able to go for the kill immediately on the end step, and that is pretty cool. And yeah, I consider they have the combo, so I started the match with the loss in game 1. If I resolved bombardment, I would be able to prevent that. Okay, here playing first, a great hand. They don't play much removal, but have like stuff like Monk Fanatic. Okay, so I decided to take out all the rumbles in this matchup, bring in Static Prisons as additional removal, and of course Celestial Purge, very useful, kills most of the stuff from their deck except for the Birthing Ritual, unfortunately, but pretty good. Okay, so opponent sacks the Fanatic here, finds Hierarch, and yeah, that's their turn. I had some options and I decided I really want to start making those Ocelot Pride tokens. So I go with that. Opponent, yeah, this Birthing Ritual is just very dangerous in this deck. You'll never know. They can just combo super easily. And opponent finds Matron here. They can find their combo pieces if needed. Instead, they go for the munitions expert to kill one of my guys. And yeah, they go for the Matron, and they also have the expert. Now 4 goblins, they're able to kill the Ocelot, but I'm in a very good position this turn. Of course, opponent can win at any point by finding the combo, but I attack here for 6. They can actually sack some goblin tokens to survive it, but they decided just to concede. They could probably just sack all these guys, survive on 1 with a Siege Gang Lieutenant, and then see. But I would be able to Celestial Purge their Lieutenant. It would not be a great situation for them. So opponent concedes, and that was game 2. Let's check out game 3. Okay, so I felt like I just want removals, and opponent can be very quick, so I decided to just ditch the rumble in this matchup. Actually, I did ditch rumble quite often. That was the reason why I decided to just play Ajani and trim rumble to 2 off, because often I would what I would do was often what I would do is just trim to rumble post board. So yeah, here I put bombardment on the field, and I have Ocelot, I have bombardment pride, making more of these cat tokens, and they work so well with bombardment. So I continue attacking, continue making cat tokens, and yeah, the bombardment is just super powerful in this matchup. They basically can't do anything while bombardment is on the field. And yeah, here I go for the Snoop kill, so they can play anything from the top. But yeah, opponent has munitions expert to kill the Ocelot Pride, but still I'm good. I'm able to clear their board, and yeah, with Renegade Rallier, I will be just able to bring that Ocelot Pride back if needed, but I thought it's probably best to just go for the Flage this turn, and next turn I can try to go for the kill. This game opponent doesn't have Birthing Ritual, so their deck feels less powerful, definitely. Okay, so I go for the Guide of Souls. I don't have anything in the yard, so I decided just to sack it and then bring it back immediately with Renegade Rallier. And yeah, opponent tries to find a solution, but next turn I can just deal 3 face with Flage and sack everything to face. So that is the kill. Opponent can't survive, and yeah, let's check out match 4. Okay, so match 4. Playing first, it was a decent hand, but no good lands. So I go for this one. This one was decent. Turn 1 Ocelot into turn 2 Raptor is pretty good. Okay, so unfortunately I can't attack with Pride. in this situation, but I play Raptor, find a Gyro Souls, that's pretty good. Opponent only goes for Ocelot, and now I'm able to Flage and get the second energy. Opponent has a removal in response, but that's got the Ocelot Pride token, so that's something. Opponent still can't attack with their Ocelot, that is good. So now I put more guards in the yard, even the second Flage, and play the Goblin Bombardment, and that means opponent can't really. It's so hard for a pure Boros to win against Bombardment. As you can see here, I can just sack the Eldrazi, kill Ocelot, second cat, kill other Ocelot. I have Raptor blocking, then I can sack that too. And Flage, finding Flage so easily with rituals and rumbles, also big advantage in the matchup. And I got the quick win again in this matchup. So yeah, okay, let's check out game 2 and sideboarding plan for this matchup. As you can see here, again a rumble went out. This was like early testing with this build, so I still was not 100% decided on all my sideboard decisions. Just tested a lot of different stuff to see what I like the most. Okay, so here I got the bombardment on the field, and I decided to go this turn for God of Souls, Ocelot Pride, start making Ocelot tokens. That seems pretty good. And Ocelot has first strike that works great with bombardment, so I can first strike 1 damage, then kill the bombardment, kill the Goblin Shaman token by sacking the token, my cat token. Okay, opponent unfortunately finds Sun Cleanser, but thanks to the Goblin Bombardment, I'm able to actually have a better solution for killing this Sun Cleanser instead of just top decking those static prisons. As you can see, of course, static prison go in the game too. Just removing the Sun Cleanser is very relevant. Also, it can take care of a Flage and token. It's very cool against the tokens. Yeah, it's a good card. Okay, so I find a static prison here, and it was a great top deck. I was able to take their Sun Cleanser, and now I play Apprentice. I'm able to cascade into whatever, and now I have a bombardment active here. I have my energy active, and I can just kill all the relevant stuff, and opponent concedes. That is the match against the Boros Energy. So let's check out the final match of this league for the trophy. And I played against Jeskai again, but this time it was not the regular Jeskai control version, but the version that plays Dress Down and Null Drifter and the Flage. I think that version is even better against energy decks, because I think that is probably even better because they have that play of just stacking turn 3 Flage on the field, and it can be hard for me to kill it. Okay, so here I go for Mountain, play the Bombardment, and this turn just resolve my enchantments. Sweet thing for Rallier, it is able to get these cards back from the yard, and yeah, I have combo. Basically, I can go for the combo kill, but I have Saffi in the yard, I have Bombardment on the field, I have Rallier in hand, so I have combo assembled. But unfortunately, my opponent also plays Force of Negations and counter spells. So it's not easy to pull that off. So I decide to spend this turn I don't have a revolt Unfortunately, that was a big problem for me here. Last turn didn't have a revolt to try to go for it. So yeah, I resolved Ocelot Pride, tried to go for Rallier, and my opponent already killed my first bombardment. I think yeah, that was a mistake that turn, possibly playing both of my enchantments, making their turn 4 Wrath of the Skies for X2 pretty good, pretty strong, killing 2 of my enchantments that are very strong. And as you can see here, they had another Wrath of the Skies, which is of course hard thing to deal with. And yeah, my opponent prevents 3 face with Flage, but now I have Flage in the yard, and this can just super easily win some games. Okay, so it didn't happen, but it's still a game, and opponent doesn't play the One Ring in their deck, so it's just a fair mid-range battle. And I find another Flage. I think that was a good top deck. Killed there Teferi. I should have maybe went face. Let Teferi live. Maybe that was a better play. Okay, but here I have a land. I decide to go for the Surveil, leave the Rumble on top. This way, even if they kill Flage again, I can still find cards with Rumble. Yeah. So I was expecting them to either have like Subtlety or a Counterspell or whatever. So I decided not to go for the Flage this turn, but another strong creature. So I went for the Rallier. They have to respond to that because yeah, it can bring a ritual to the field, which is very likely to win me the game. Yeah, unfortunately, opponent 2 cards in hand and only 1 now, but they had very relevant cards: Subtlety, then Counterspell, and yeah, my opponent top decks Flage here, very brutal. And the worst thing about this, they're able to just recast it immediately with Escape Coast and also with Arena of Glory. So that was pretty brutal, top deck for the opponent. And they find that Flage, and it was just super relevant. Got me to 7 life immediately. Okay, so I deal 3 with Galvanic Discharge, play Flage to try to kill their Flage. I had a way out, but opponent also top decked another counterspell to counter that play, so that was it. Was not they had a kill next turn, and yeah, that was the game. Pretty strong hand and the draws entire game for the opponent, and it was a close one, but they got the win. Okay, so in this situation, when you have 2 Ocelot Prides and the Guide of Souls, I think it is correct to play the Ocelot Pride first, especially if you are playing first. Okay, so I go for the attack here first, and if they have untapped, I'm definitely going to get that Ocelot Pride token, start getting the value out of it. So I have 3 creatures at this point, and what I really want to do is resolve the Goblin Bombardment. This way, this is pretty good way to beat Wrath of the Skies. Just sack all the creatures, you have to face. And yeah, here I go for the bombardment. Opponent making bunch of these Ocelot Pride tokens. Opponent plays Hallowed Moonlight, so I don't get those tokens, but it's pretty good situation for me. And the opponent finds, unfortunately, very good play for them. Tune the narrative into the Wrath of the Skies, also killing my bombardment, but I was able to deal a lot of damage to face and put them down on 4, which is, I still didn't draw any Flages, so if I draw just a single Flage, that means I have the kill. so that seems very likely. Also, I had another bombardment and a Guide of Souls for this immediately this turn, and this felt like pretty good position for me. But opponent also has a third Breath of the Skies, so I just pinged them another damage, put them down on 3, and finally find a top deck myself. Flage wins here a game immediately, so I was able to close this one. So let's check out game 3. Okay, so in the game 3, this was great hand, but a one lander, so I mulliganed and also find a pretty good 6-card hand. I have the Sun Cleanser, so end of their turn I surveil, put God of Souls in the yard. It's a good Rallier target, and also I want to find a third land. So I go for the Sun Cleanser and remove all the energy from them. Opponent has a way to beat that. They have Dress Down, and yeah, this is one of the starts this deck can have, and it's really strong. It's hard to beat. Opponent has a turn 2 Null Drifter with Dress Down, which means Null Drifter doesn't die but stays on the field, and it has Annihilator 1 and it's hitting me 4 in the air, so I have to sack something. I decide to sack the Soul Guide Lantern, and I just was not able to find a way to kill this guy. Also, Subtlety was pretty good tempo wise here, enabling them to just simply go for shorten their their tempo kill for just they need just 2 swings now with Subtlety, and I don't have any flyers at the moment. So I also start attacking, but it's a pretty bad situation for me. They also have Flage to finish things up immediately that turn, so that was pretty strong hand by the opponent, and they had a turn 5 kill. So that was the game and the match. Lost. I was not able to do much in that one. Maybe I was able to do something in game 1, but that's it. Flare of Fortitude, I didn't have it at that in this league in the deck. I decided to add it after this league. It breaks the Giganta rule post board when you bring it, but I think it could be like the best attack for the Jeskai control matchup that I can think of right now. So I kind of like that. There's also some new card from Bloom Burrow that gives indestructible to everything you have. So and it works with Giganta. So maybe I'll try that. But for now, I'll be testing some Flare of Fortitude. Flares are powerful cards. They can be played for 0 mana, so maybe worth testing. And that's it. Okay, so a lot of white creatures in this build, so that can be helpful too. As you saw in that league, I had a 4 Rumble, 4 Saffi instead of Ajani's, but this is what I decided for in the end. Played a couple of leagues with Ajani's. I liked Ajani's, obviously. It's a great card, works great with Bombardment in deck, and Ocelot too, so I prefer this build for now. So thank you for watching. I think this is another interesting way to play energy, and to be honest, in all the leagues I played, I had very good performance for the deck. It was all like 4-1 and 3-2 leagues. It's still a lot of just energy cards, which is one of the best decks at the moment. And all the green cards we are adding are just very powerful. Rumble is amazing. Ritual is very good. Renegade Rallier was often like MVP of this build. Maybe I would like to play. I have 12 fetches here. I think that is enough. That is like what we want, and a lot of creatures. And Bombardment helping with Revolt. So that's it. Okay, that's it for today. I think potentially NAYA could be better than Mardu, but that mostly depends how strong is Bowmasters in the metagame. It's pretty decent now, but Bloomborough is coming, and we will see. We will see how it resolves, but it's a very, I think this is very strong option to go with energy archetype, and just having like the infinite combo can definitely improve some matchups for the energy archetype. So pretty happy with this. I think it's a strong build that can do some very good results. I think it's worth testing. Different numbers of all these cards are good, like Rumble is great. I would definitely consider playing 4, but I still have to playtest more. Saffi was also just pretty decent as a 4-off. I didn't draw multiple copies too often, but was never sorry to find a Saffi. And it works well with Ritual, it works well with Bombardment, and you can really always sack it and use the second and third copy if you draw it, so it doesn't really affect that. And yeah, okay. Once again, friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe, comment me in the video, do you prefer Mardu, Boros, or this Naya version? I think all these 3 versions are now very viable, and probably just one is better than the other in specific metas. Boros, of course, if you want to play Blood Moon in the main. Mardu if you facing a lot of one rings, and Naya has this infinite combo that can also help with a bunch of matchups, especially when you're playing fair mid-range. If you have a lot of mirror matchups, I think the version playing Bombardment and stuff like Ritual and Rumble is just in a big advantage, and I think this is the mirror killer. I think this version just wins the mirror, and having the infinite combo will often be relevant, and that's it. There is more to explore with this build, and I still not 100% sold on not playing more Rumbles, or not playing at least a third Saffi, but I also want to play a Johnny's. It's the easiest thing is to cut a Johnny's and just play the Rumbles and Saffis, but I also think a Johnny's are like very good. So I think also Flage is very strong right now, like auto include 4-off. I don't mind drawing any number of copies of Flage. It's just one of the I think Flage is the best card in Modern right now. There is just no better card than Flage. And Rallier was also pretty sweet, and I was just always hoping to draw Rallier and do some broken stuff with it. It brings back everything from the yard, but it also makes you a bit softer to Graveyard Hate, since you already play Flage, but I don't think that is a big deal. You can always post board like trim 1 Flage, trim 1-2 Ralliers, but they are mostly just good cards, and sometimes a Rallier will force your opponents to crack their Soul Guide Lantern or whatever. Then you can use that to resolve Flage, put it in the yard, and then try to escape it later. And that's it. Okay, finally now this is finally over for today. Again, thank you for watching, and goodbye.